Welcome back to Football Daily, where today we're looking at 10 players that are on crazy contracts their clubs could probably do without. Let's get into it. 10. Andrés Iniesta. It has gone firmly under the radar just how much Andrés Iniesta is earning in Japan. The Spain and Barcelona legend has been representing Vissel Kobe for 5 years and is still pulling strings at the grand age of 38, scoring 2 and assisting 3 in the 2022 J-League campaign. The cost of El Maestro's services to Vissel Kobe, a startling €25 million a year. To say this dwarfs anyone else in Japan is an understatement. Until his departure in 2021, Thomas Vermaelen was the next biggest earner on a humble annual salary of €3.8 million, also at Kobe, while even today the number 2 is Sergi Samper on less than €1.2 million a season. Of course, few players anywhere have careers that come close to Iniesta's. But are the Rakuten-owned Kobe really getting value for money from the 4 times Champions League winner? Iniesta has never won the J-League and has just won Japanese Cup for his efforts, which came in 2019. For what he costs, you might expect more. That said, after 5 games, the big spending Ushi lead the 2023 season, so perhaps this is the year they finally show their worth. 9. Ivan Rakitić. Sevilla's nightmare campaign is inexcusable given the talent at their disposal. The Andalusians boast a squad packed with experience, from Youssef En-Nesyri up front to Eric Lamela and Suso in midfield. And yet, they find themselves onto their 3rd manager of the season, hanging dangerously close to the relegation zone. But perhaps the most disappointing of the lot is Ivan Rakitić. The club's most highly decorated player, the Croatian has floundered this season with just 3 goal involvements in La Liga, despite playing a more advanced role from midfield and seeing his shots and key passes both improve. More wasteful in possession than ever before, at a time when his compatriot Luka Modric is showing no signs of slowing down, at 35 Rakitić is beginning to show his age. To add to Sevilla's woes, the Basel Academy graduate is their highest paid player on a contract that still has another season to run. Some report states he earns €250,000 per week, others believe it's half that amount, but either way, Rakitić needs to take some responsibility and show why he carries such a high retainer. If not, La Liga Segunda could be beckoning. 8. Diego Costa. Wolves' decision to sign Diego Costa as an emergency striker was met with plenty of scepticism. For all the goodwill the Chelsea cult legend enjoys from his previous stint in the Premier League, Diego Costa has scored merely 16 league goals since the start of the 2017-18 campaign. A horrendous return considering he reportedly cost Atletico Madrid well over €200k per week on top of the £55 million they paid to prize him from Chelsea. 4 goals in 15 appearances for Atletico Mineiro back in Brazil hardly suggested he had rediscovered his tenacious best either. Sure enough, Costa has flopped at the Molineux. He has failed to score once in over 700 league minutes despite taking 21 shots in that period. Expected goal states that he should have netted over twice, while he is actually shooting closer to the goal than at any point in the last 7 campaigns. Now 34, Costa is clearly finished at the top level. He may only be earning a reported 50k per week, far from the club's top earner, however that still screams of money for absolutely nothing. 7. Paul Pogba. Is Paul Pogba to blame for only playing twice all season? Some Juventus fans might argue yes, as the Frenchman has played a small part in his torrid battle with injury. Shortly after returning to Turin, a scan revealed Pogba had torn a knee ligament in training, causing him to miss the start of the Serie A campaign. The medical staff at Juve recommended he underwent surgery, but Pogba declined, claiming to know his body better. But his knee worsened, and 6 weeks later the Frenchman was forced under the knife, his error of judgment costing him a spot at the World Cup. The 30-year-old's second debut for Juve came in a recent win over Torino, but no sooner was Pog back, he was Pog gone again, this time with a muscle problem. This is no laughing matter for Juventus. On a base salary of €8 million per season, Pogba is Serie A's best paid player, yet he's cost them €228,000 for every minute he's played, a truly dreadful return even a giant like Juventus can't stomach. No wonder there are suggestions he should consider paying back some of his salary. Juve fans, let us know if you agree with that sentiment. 6. Yerry Mina. Okay, this one is a little harsh given his miserable injury record, but Yerry Mina continues to drain the accounts of Everton. The 5 years that the Colombian has spent with the Toffees do not make for pretty reading. Signed from Barcelona for €30 million, Mina has never managed 30 games in a single Premier League campaign and has only played 16 times in the past 18 months. In fact, the 28-year-old still hasn't hit 100 appearances for the Toffees, currently posting an average of less than 20 games a season at Goodison Park. This term, the centre-half has actually been fit since October, when he recovered from his latest ankle injury. But Frank Lampard and now Sean Dyche has put all their faith in a Tarkowski-Cody partnership at the back, with Mina simply too fragile to compete in the heat of a relegation battle. On £120,000 per week, he is one of the club's top earners too, a glowing reminder of Everton's reckless spending over the years. The fans will no doubt be glad to see the back of him when his contract expires this summer. 5. Nathaniel Clyne. Provided Roy Hodgson can drag them to safety, the future still looks bright for Crystal Palace. In 2021, they moved on 9 senior players, slashing the wage bill and ushering in some young, exciting fresh talent, including Joachim Andersen, Mark Guehi and Mikel Olise. Yet Palace fell into their old ways when they handed Nathaniel Clyne an £80k per week contract behind only Wilfried Zaha and Odsonne Edouard at the club. He may have been signed as a free agent, but the former Liverpool man wasn't exactly a man in demand, first training with Palace before trialling with the under-23s. To have netted a monstrous pay packet at the end of that process is slightly baffling. And this season the 31-year-old has not been value for money. From just over 1,600 minutes, he has failed to produce a single assist or goal, no thanks to some of the worst attacking metrics of any right-back in Europe's top 5 leagues, while his 2.2 tackles and interceptions per 90 are also desperately poor for a defender. Clyne's contract is up this summer, and we doubt he will ever see that kind of money again. 4. Theo Walcott. An academy star returning home is normally an effortless crowd pleaser. But in the case of Theo Walcott at Southampton, any fan sentiment towards their former wonder kid has quickly worn thin. Walcott signed on permanently at St Mary's following a half-decent loan spell from Everton in 2020-21, scoring 3 and assisting 3 across the campaign. But that decision appears driven more by sentiment than logic, with Walcott playing just 19 times in the league since. In that time, his only goal involvements came in a recent 3-3 draw with Tottenham. Injuries haven't helped, but they offer no excuse for Walcott's severe drop in form. Over the past 12 months, he's averaged a terrible 0.4 progressive passes per 90 and fallen well below 1 successful take on a match. A horrible pass accuracy rate of 62% completes the picture of Walcott as now too slow to beat his man and too incompetent to maintain possession. To make matters worse, the 34-year-old is on a massive £75,000 per week, just behind James Ward-Prowse in the Saints squad. Given Southampton appear doomed for relegation, his hefty salary and limitations make him a passenger the club can ill afford. 3. Rhian Brewster. Sheffield United's current financial issues have exposed what a disaster the £23.5 million signing of Rhian Brewster has been. Liverpool were so confident he would be a success at the Blades, the deal included a £40 million buyback clause. But after a miserable 5 goals in nearly 3 years at Bramall Lane, that will not be activated, especially with muscular injuries plaguing the 22-year-old over the past 18 months. Sheffield United's investment in the forward didn't just end with his transfer fee. If you remove the Premier League players currently on loan in the Championship, Brewster is one of the division's top earners on £34k per week. This is a major problem for the Yorkshire club, who are under a transfer embargo for missed payments to Liverpool and to the Swedish outfit Malmo. Unless they can ease their cash flow shortage soon, Sheffield United could be hit with a points deduction, which would be devastating given automatic promotion to the Premier League is in their sights. Brewster should not be blamed for the mess the Blades find themselves in, but right now he is a costly burden the FA Cup semi-finalists could do without. 2. Cristiano Ronaldo. Piers Morgan may be adamant that Cristiano Ronaldo's annual £173 million contract at Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia is further proof of his best friend's GOAT status, but to the ordinary person it's a sad, absurd and gluttonous wage considering his bank account is already bursting at the seams. In many ways, Morgan is to thank for CR7's enrichment programme in the Middle East. It was his infamous interview that caused Manchester United to rip up Ronaldo's contract prior to the World Cup, leaving the Portuguese superstar open and available. But when no Champions League club took a chance on the 38-year-old, he had little choice but to accept Al Nassr's advances. Some might say you can't blame Ronaldo for accepting the £500,000 a day contract laid at his feet, roughly £6 a second. And he is living up to the billing with 9 goals and 10 appearances for the club so far. However, the resurgence of Manchester United in his absence, plus the fact he still has something to offer in Europe, has only tainted this transfer more. Money can't always buy you happiness, as Ronaldo may well discover. 1. Eden Hazard. Since Eden Hazard joined Real Madrid in 2019, Los Blancos have faced Barcelona 11 times. But the Belgian, the club's highest paid player on a reported £400,000 per week, hasn't featured in a single El Clasico. Many of those absences have been due to his well-covered battle with injury. Yet despite being fit and available today, Carlo Ancelotti has shown no interest in deploying the damaged playmaker. The 32-year-old has only appeared for just over 100 minutes in La Liga this term, with the last of those coming in January. Hazard has spoken about his relationship with the Italian supercoach, saying there is respect but the two don't speak. Ancelotti though has pulled no punches when questioned about Hazard, declaring his job is to win games with the best starting 11. Even his teammates don't seem too upset, Toni Kroos recently stating he had no mercy for Hazard, adding he doesn't have a bad life or is having a bad time. The sensible thing would be for Hazard to leave the Bernabeu. Yet he has been open about his plan to see out the last season of his contract next term, cashing in on what's left of his dwindling career. So that was our list of 10 players wasting their club's millions. But who do you blame for their situation, the club or the players? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, subscribe to Football Daily if you haven't already with notifications on, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.